The story begins in 1989. A little girl named Momi stands on the school stage, dancing with pure excitement in her eyes. She loves dancing more than anything, and everyone in the audience claps for her, filling the hall with cheers. But things start to change as she grows older. Her appearance changes, and the people around her begin to look at her differently. One evening, her mother walks into her room and sees her dancing. Instead of encouraging her, she becomes annoyed and asks how Momi could ever dream of becoming a singer when she looks ugly. Those words cut deeply. Momi stands in front of the mirror, staring at herself, trying to understand why she looks so different, even though her mother is very beautiful. Later, when she dances again on the school stage, her classmates make cruel comments. They laugh at her and bully her because they think she is ugly. The pain grows heavier when she moves on to high school. She watches her friends sing and dance on stage while she stands behind them, and one girl even asks her to lower herself because she is too tall. Time passes, and the year becomes 2009. Momi is now 27 years old, working as an accountant in a company. Her life feels repetitive and dull, and it's clear she does not enjoy her job. One night, she decides to chase her dream in a different way. She puts on a mask, starts a live stream, and begins to dance online. She shows her body confidently, and the viewers love it. They write many comments and compliments, and for the first time in years, she feels noticed. The next morning, she wakes up, gets ready, and goes to work. Her coworker asks why she looks tired, saying she has seemed exhausted for a while. Momi pretends everything is fine. Inside the office, they watch the secretary, Lee, bringing coffee for the managers. Everyone is impressed by her beauty. When they look at Momi and her friend, their expressions change. Friend jokes back and threatens to report them for harassment. Then they gossip about Lee, claiming she had plastic surgery. At that moment, Park appears, one of the company managers. From the first moment Momi sees him, she feels drawn to him. He looks like a celebrity or a model. His only flaw is that he is married. When he takes coffee from Lee, he tells her not to act like that because they are at work. That night, Momi returns home and searches online for plastic surgery clinics. She stares at her reflection again and again. Later, she goes live once more with her mask on, dances, and receives many likes and comments. The next day, Park scolds her for not calculating something correctly, and she feels hurt. Later, she complains to her friend, calling him disgusting because he posts pictures of his abs online. That night, they go out with the managers. When Lee pours a drink for one of them, her friend calls it harassment, arguing and accusing everyone. The manager then starts talking about the mysterious masked girl online and shows her videos to Park. No one knows it is actually Momi. When they leave the bar, her friend criticizes Park for watching the masked girl's videos. Momi defends herself, saying she isn't doing anything wrong and that her videos are normal. Park calls for a taxi. Momi takes the chance and asks to ride with him. He agrees, and on the way, his wife calls. He lies, saying he is alone in the taxi. Momi feels a spark and starts to believe he might actually like her. Later, she tells her followers what happened, and they tell her he really is interested in her. She becomes even happier when she sees him at work the next day, scolding Lee in front of everyone. After work, she tells Lee not to take it personally, explaining that Park sometimes loses his temper because of stress. Then she leaves, but realizes she forgot her wallet. When she returns, she finds Lee inside Park's office and suddenly suspects that the two of them are in a relationship. Her heart burns with jealousy. That night, she drinks heavily until she gets drunk. She goes live again, dances wildly, and then removes her clothes in front of all the viewers. Her page is immediately shut down for violating community rules. Momi breaks down and cries. At work, people start whispering about everything happening inside the company. Feeling overwhelmed, Momi spreads the rumor about Park and Lee, and soon the entire office is talking about them. She feels guilty when she finds out Human Resources is called because of the scandal. Leaving the company, she finds Park drunk and trying to throw himself in front of cars. She rushes to save him, tries to calm him down, calls a taxi, and takes him toward the street where he lives. Because Momi doesn't know Park's exact address, she is forced to take him to a hotel. Park is too drunk to stay conscious, so he falls asleep immediately, completely unaware of his surroundings. Momi sits beside him, staring quietly, her heart racing as she watches him breathing beside her. The next morning, Park wakes up, shocked to find Momi lying next to him. Without saying a word, he grabs his clothes, sneaks out, and leaves the hotel before she wakes up. When Momi finally opens her eyes and realizes he is gone, sadness settles over her, and it becomes worse when she returns to the company and learns that Park has resigned. Soon after, Momi discovers something frightening. Someone knows her secret identity. She runs to the restroom, trembling as she reads the threatening messages again. From that moment, she becomes suspicious of everyone around her. When a man accidentally bumps into her, she panics, convinced he is harassing her. She argues with him, drags him to the police station, and accuses him while he keeps denying everything. At the station, the officer tells her to look at herself in the mirror, as if questioning her judgment. Momi becomes furious and hits the man. The matter is treated as a misunderstanding, but Momi refuses to let it go. She insists the man harassed her, and also accuses him of sending the threatening messages. The officer reminds her that she, too, assaulted him. In the end, she is forced to drop the complaint. When she leaves the station, she receives a message from Park. He asks her to forget everything that happened because he doesn't remember any of it. Her heart breaks again. She goes home and tries to open her online channel, but she cannot access it anymore. Feeling lost, she finally replies to a man who has been obsessively messaging her. They begin talking, slowly at first, and then more often. He becomes attached to her, and soon it is revealed that the man is actually her coworker. His name is Onam. We see his past. As a child, he was overweight, constantly bullied, beaten, and humiliated. He tried to disappear, to stay unseen, to avoid the pain. Over the years, he grew into a quiet, withdrawn man who preferred isolation. One evening, Onam returns home and celebrates his birthday alone with a plastic doll, treating it as if it were a real person. His mother calls. For a moment, he believes she is calling to wish him a happy birthday. But instead, she scolds him for not sending money, not visiting, not getting married. He hangs up feeling emptier than before. He fears people, especially women, and constantly avoids their eyes. Because of that, he tends to stare only at their hands. One day, when Momi hands him a file, he notices 2 small beauty marks on her right hand. Later that night, at home, he watches videos of the masked dancer again, the same girl he has been secretly following for a long time. When he sees the same beauty marks on the masked girl's hand, he realizes the truth. The girl online and his coworker are the same person. From then on, he can't stop watching her. At meetings, he keeps glancing at her. At night, he writes kind comments under her videos. He becomes addicted to thinking about her. The next day at the office, he listens to her favorite song while watching her walk by. But his heart hurts when he sees her getting into a taxi with Park again. That night, he watches her live stream. He notices the way she looks at Park and begins practicing different ways to confess his feelings. When work ends, he waits outside the company to speak to her, but when the manager suddenly questions him, he loses his courage and doesn't notice Momi leaving. He waits until everyone is gone, then sees Park return to the office. Moments later, Momi also arrives and goes inside. Suspicion fills his mind. He follows, but soon learns the truth. Park is actually involved with Lee. Later, he watches Momi's live stream and sees her drunk, suddenly removing her clothes. His anger explodes and he blames Park for everything. The next day, he imagines confessing his love in front of all the employees. In his fantasy, she accepts his feelings and kisses him. In reality, he simply shares the elevator with her and feels happy when their shoulders touch. When she asks if he needs something, he nervously makes up a work question. Then he sees her leave the company and get into a taxi with Park again. He secretly follows and watches them go into a hotel. Furious, he decides to send her threatening messages. Later, his mother calls, wanting to bring him food. He lies, saying he eats outside because he comes home late from work. After that, he receives a message from Momi. His excitement grows as she talks to him and tells him she feels safe with him because he doesn't care about looks. But before he can fully enjoy that moment, she stops chatting and begins talking to another man named Handsome. Momi decides to meet Handsome in real life. She waits nervously while wearing a mask and feels foolish for being there. Just then, Handsome arrives and recognizes her. They go to a restaurant, and he asks her to remove her mask. Embarrassed, she hesitates, but finally agrees. He smiles and tells her she is attractive and charming. He explains that his family lives in America while he stays in Korea, and says that Americans love girls who look like her. Later, Momi looks in the mirror and begins to like her reflection. Meanwhile, Onam discovers Handsome's posts online. Handsome has been lying. He writes that Momi is very ugly and that he is only pretending to date her. Shocked, Onam calls Momi to warn her, but she doesn't answer. Instead, she agrees to go out with Handsome again, and eventually goes with him to a hotel. She feels uneasy. The hotel looks suspicious, but in the end, she agrees to go up with him. Handsome pays a lot of money for the room and becomes annoyed when she refuses to help pay. Onam rushes desperately to the hotel but cannot find her. Inside the room, Momi notices many missed calls from Onam. Before she can respond, Handsome comes closer, trying to touch her. She refuses and tells him she never agreed to anything. Images of her masked videos flash in her mind, and she fears he only wants to expose her like that. She gets angry and hits him. He pushes back. They struggle. He shoves her, and he falls off the bed, hitting the floor hard. When she looks down, she sees blood spreading around his head, and he isn't moving. At that exact moment, a message from Onam appears on her phone. A message suddenly appears on Momi's phone. It's from Onam, warning her about Handsome. She panics and tells him everything. She doesn't know whether Handsome is dead or alive, and she says she wants to call the police. But Onam stops her. He tells her no one will believe her because she went with Handsome willingly. And even if it was an accident, she could still go to prison. Momi breaks down crying. Onam also cries. Then he tells her to leave everything to him and go home. Momi leaves, shaken and terrified. Onam stays behind, preparing to hide the body. While he is there, he realizes Handsome is still alive. Something inside him snaps. He loses control and attacks him repeatedly until the blood covers his face. For a brief moment, he feels relief, then disgust, then fear. Momi returns home, stands in front of the mirror, and whispers to herself that she looks horrible. The shame consumes her. The next day, Onam goes to the company and learns that Momi has resigned. He goes to human resources, takes her belongings, pretending he will deliver them to her just so he can get her address. He knocks and knocks, but she does not answer. Meanwhile, Momi quietly goes live and tells her viewers that she will appear for the very last time. Onam rushes to her place, bangs on the door, and tells her he knows she's inside. She finally opens it. She tells him she knows he was the one sending the threatening messages. She asks why. Onam admits he was upset because he saw her with Park, and that it was the first time in his life he had ever felt something like this for someone. Momi gently tells him he's right and that everything is too painful, and she wants to erase the past, pretend Handsome was just an insect that died, and start over. Onam asks if that also means she will erase him. She steps closer and asks what he really wants from her. His emotions explode. He loses control and forces himself on her after she faints. Then, when he removes her mask, he realizes the truth. She has had plastic surgery. At that moment, Momi wakes up, horrified, shaking, and attacks him. She stabs him repeatedly until he dies. Then she collapses, crying uncontrollably. The story shifts. We meet Onam's mother, Kim Ja. She once married his father because he was educated and had a good job. But after marriage, he abandoned her and ran away with another woman, leaving only their son behind. She worked any job she could find, saved every coin, and eventually opened a small restaurant, all to raise Onam and give him a better life. But motherhood wasn't what she imagined. Her child came home every day beaten, bullied, humiliated. All she could do was take him to church and pray. She dreamed he would study medicine, but when he grew up, he chose another major. After graduating, he decided to live alone because his workplace was far. She begged him not to, worried about money, but he insisted. She brought him food, traveled long distances, only to hear him say he didn't need it. She pretended she wouldn't talk to him again, but her heart always softened. She'd still leave the food at the door. Later, he stopped answering her calls, then he disappeared. Panicked, she called the police. They opened his apartment. The smell hit her immediately. Inside, she found a dismembered body and collapsed, thinking it was her son. At the hospital, detectives told her the body wasn't his, but now they suspected that her son might be the killer. She grew furious and stormed out. Investigators continued searching. They learned that Momi left the company the same time Onam disappeared, and that he had been watching her constantly. They went to Momi's old apartment and discovered from her friend that she had left the country after undergoing plastic surgery. Meanwhile, Kim Ja watched the news, devastated that they portrayed her son as some pervert because of the adult toys found in his home. She called the police, yelled at them, then finally decided to search on her own. She hired someone to unlock his computer. She didn't understand anything at first, so she took computer classes until she learned. When she finally accessed it, she found countless videos of the masked girl and realized it was Momi, his coworker. She learned online slang, studied comments, closed her shop, withdrew all her savings from the bank, money she had been saving for years. Then she began contacting another person online who was also searching for the masked girl. He said he found a video of someone who looked exactly like her and only different because her body shape had changed, maybe after surgery. That night, Kim Ja dreamed of her son calling to her, saying he was cold. She hugged him tightly, asking what happened. Then suddenly he slipped from her arms and fell. She woke up terrified. A call came from the police station. They found a body. At the morgue, she collapsed. It was her son. He had been found on the road, dismembered. Her screams echoed through the room. After the funeral, she went to Momi's family home. Momi's mother refused to come out. The maid explained that they hadn't heard from Momi in a very long time and had cut ties. Seeing Momi's mother indifferent, Kim Ja exploded, shouting and insulting her until the maid called the police. While arguing, she learned that Momi's father had died by suicide 1 year earlier. She left, carrying only grief, rage, and a purpose forming slowly inside her. Kim Ja refuses to believe the neighbor's story, even though the woman swears she's telling the truth. In the end, Kim Ja still goes to see her and asks if she knows where Momi is. The neighbor mentions a woman from a video and suggests that Kim Ja travel to meet her, so Kim Ja goes. She asks around about the girl from the video and learns that the girl really had been there, but disappeared some time ago. Kim Ja keeps searching relentlessly, wandering through streets and back alleys until she finally sees the girl by coincidence inside a small restaurant. She follows her quietly and watches as she walks into a nightclub called. Kim Ja follows, lies to the security guard, and tells him she is the girl's mother. He refuses to let her in. She begs him not to say anything because her daughter would be embarrassed, then steps back out, waiting and waiting. Eventually, she drifts into sleep. In her dream, she sees her son lying on the ground, begging her to help him, and then the masked girl appears standing above him with a knife. Kim Ja screams, unable to reach him. She wakes up in shock and finds Onam sitting beside her in the dream, saying she always looked down on him because he didn't go to medical school, because he had no relationships, and because she was secretly happier knowing he was dead. She apologizes, and then wakes again, realizing it was all just a terrible nightmare. Someone gently wakes her, asking if she is okay. She takes a deep breath and calms down. Then she sees Momi leaving the club. Quietly, Kim Ja follows her home, watches all night from outside, and even follows her into the same salon the next day, sitting beside her as she washes her hair. She notices the necklace around Momi's neck, something that feels strangely familiar. Later at home, she searches through videos of the masked girl and finds one where the girl is wearing the exact same necklace. That is when it becomes clear the woman she is following is Momi. Kim Ja buys a calls for a taxi job and spends hours waiting outside the mall where Momi works, refusing every passenger until Momi finally gets in. During the ride, she talks gently and learns that Momi is now 28 years old. Then she pretends she dropped her phone under the seat. When Momi reaches to get it, she is electrocuted and everything goes dark. Momi wakes up tied inside an abandoned place. She screams, but there is no one to hear. Kim Ja appears and forces her to apologize. Momi breaks down, asking what she wants. Kim Ja shows her a picture of her son. Momi says she doesn't know him. She claims her name is Kim Chun, not Momi. Kim Ja rips off her mask and calls her a liar, saying she looks exactly like the masked girl. Terrified, Kim Chun swears she has never seen her son. Then Kim Ja shows her footage, the masked girl wearing the same necklace. Momi freezes. She starts telling her story. We go back to 1999. A teenage girl named Kim Chun transfers to a new school. Her name sounds old-fashioned, and her classmates laugh. She becomes shy, isolated, unable to fit in. Then she meets Byung and falls for him instantly. He starts visiting the shop where she works, charming her, asking her to sell him eyeliner and cigarettes. Because she likes him, she agrees. He keeps visiting, borrowing more and more money. Eventually, he becomes famous, appearing on television as a singer. But he never answers her. She visits his house with a gift, hides when she hears someone coming, and listens. She hears him laughing with a friend, bragging that he tricked girls for money, including her. She breaks down and exposes him online, posting photos of him drinking. His career collapses. He is kicked out of the group. After that, she decides to get plastic surgery. She changes everything about her appearance. 10 years later, in 2009, she meets Byung again, by coincidence. He falls for her new face without knowing who she truly is. She takes him home, starts a relationship, and begins singing at a nightclub. She becomes popular, but when she returns home, Byung is lazy, messy, and doesn't even feed the dog. Back to the present, Kim Ja grows impatient. She says she doesn't care about Kim Chun's past. She wants Momi. Kim Chun insists her turn will come. She continues. She explains that she first met Momi at the nightclub. At first, they competed, always arguing, because customers preferred Momi. During one fight, she took Momi's necklace. But eventually, they became close. They understood each other. They shared the same dream, to be beautiful, the same pain, childhood humiliation. Momi gave her the necklace herself, that's because she genuinely liked her. One day, Momi didn't come to work. Kim Chun went to check on her and found her collapsed. She tried to help, but Momi refused to go to the hospital and finally confessed she had killed someone. Kim Chun hugged her tightly. From that day on, she decided to protect her, which is why she lied to Kim Ja. She begged Momi to run away, to leave the country. But Momi said her mother would only report her. When Kim Chun returned home, she found Byung indifferent, as if nothing had happened. She finally asked him to leave. He refused, revealing he knew she destroyed his career. He attacked her, threatening to kill her if she screamed. Later, he came back again. They fought once more. He beat her violently. Suddenly, Momi appeared, striking him. They used the dog leash together, and he died. At that moment, Kim Ja arrived outside, watching without being seen. She followed them as they carried the body away. Momi told Kim Chun she was pregnant and afraid the child would be ugly. Kim Chun told her that one day, if the baby had surgery, she would still call the child beautiful, because her own mother never once called her beautiful. They reached the lake. There, Kim Ja appeared, pointing a gun. Kim Chun stepped forward, claiming she was Momi, but Momi refused to let her take the blame. Kim Ja decided she would kill them both, yet the old gun misfired. The two women rushed her. In the struggle, a shot went off. Kim Chun was the one hit. Momi screamed and tried saving her. Kim Ja attacked, but Momi fought back and strangled her with the gun. Kim Chun regained consciousness long enough to strike Kim Ja with a rock, then collapsed again. Momi cried, begging her not to die, but Kim Chun died in her arms. Momi placed the bodies in the car and sank them into the lake. We jump to 2011. Momi is arrested. She has become famous, loved by many, but she turns herself in. The story spreads everywhere. The court sentences her to life in prison. Then we return to 2010. Momi stands outside her mother's house and leaves her baby behind, a little girl named Mimo. She says she is leaving the country and begs her mother to raise the child. Her mother hesitates, then eventually agrees. Time moves forward to 2017. Mimo is now older, sitting in her room, applying makeup in front of the mirror. Her grandmother says she looks exactly like her mother. Mimo doesn't like her grandmother's food and prefers snacks from the cart near the school. And then one day, everything changes. She learns the truth. Her mother is the masked girl. And when she returns home, Mimo begins searching for her mother, watching all the old masked videos again and again until she discovers the truth. Her mother is in prison. Wanting to feel closer to her, Mimo starts copying her. She wears a mask, records videos, and dances just like her. One night, her grandmother walks in and sees her wearing the mask. Shocked and terrified, she throws Mimo out of the house. Mimo collapses in the rain, sitting silently outside until she gets sick. Finally, her grandmother opens the door and lets her back in. Mimo asks gently about her mother, but her grandmother refuses to talk. Soon, Mimo learns that her best friend at school is the one who spread the news. The whole school turns against her. Students bully her. They avoid her. They whisper her mother's name like an insult. Something inside Mimo hardens. She fights back, literally. She becomes aggressive, violent, dangerous, and gets expelled from many schools. Then time moves forward. It's 2023. Mimo prepares for yet another new school. Her grandmother begs her to behave, to avoid being expelled again. She asks whether Mimo really wants to become like her mother. Mimo stays silent, then tells her not to mention her again. At school, the teacher introduces her and asks her to sit next to a boy. Mimo refuses. She wants to sit next to a girl. The only available seat is beside Yechun. Yechun is annoyed. She wanted a boy next to her, but Mimo sits down. Anyway, at lunch, Yechun sits with the popular girls. They immediately tell her to leave because they're saving the seat for someone else. Embarrassed, she sits next to Mimo and tells her she'll be her friend, because everyone will bully Mimo anyway. Mimo says she doesn't need friends. After school, Yechun follows her, trying to show her a scrapbook full of celebrities, but Mimo tells her to stay away. The next day, both of them are assigned to clean the classroom. Instead, Yechun sneaks off to show the scrapbook to the other girls. But they mock her, steal it, and rip the pages apart. Just then, Mimo walks in to throw away trash. One girl pushes her, and Mimo smashes a window and threatens to kill anyone who comes near her. The girls run. Yechun tries to clean Mimo's wound and notices faint scars on her wrist. She asks about them. Mimo turns away. That night, Yechun goes home and tries to hurt herself, but she stops. The following day at school, she shows Mimo her wrist and says, "Now they match." Mimo doesn't answer and heads to the bathroom. Yechun follows, insisting they are friends now. Eventually, Mimo agrees to go out with her. They eat together. Yechun tells her that she hates her mother because once she rescued a cat and her mother threw it out of the house. Mimo becomes annoyed. She asks if that's really the worst thing in her life, then walks away. Yechin runs after her through the rain, shouting that Mimo isn't the only tragic person in the world. She confesses that her father hits her and her mother when he's drunk, and that once she almost died. Then she admits something else. The woman she calls mother isn't her real mother. She is just her father's wife. Mimo finally speaks. She says Yechun's story is still easier than hers. Her mother is in prison, and she doesn't even know who her father is. Yechun looks at her and says she still thinks Mimo is special. That night, Yechun returns home to a warm house. Her father grills her favorite meat. Her family laughs happily. She lied. Her family is fine, but something in her is broken. Days pass, and their friendship grows. They walk together, talk together, laugh together, and after school, they wander through the city. One evening, Yechun asks why Mimo's mother is in prison. Mimo refuses to talk. Later at home, Yechun searches the internet and finds the masked girl's videos. She discovers the truth. Mimo's past schools expelled her because of violence. The next day, Yechun decides she needs money, enough for both of them to run away and live alone together. She starts selling her younger sister's bicycle. Then she sells other things too, but the money still isn't enough. Mimo says she knows someone who lends money and has helped before. Yechun refuses. She wants them to rely only on themselves. She tries to sell her celebrity photos to little kids, but older girls see her and ruin everything. Frustrated and embarrassed, she keeps trying, desperate to create a future that doesn't exist yet, pulling both girls deeper into choices they can't escape. Mimo believes the girl who bullies her is the reason everything is happening, and she wants to hit her. Yechun challenges her instead, asking calmly whether she really knows who Mimo's father is. At that same moment, we see Mimo inside a cafe, quietly trying to steal a laptop, but she fails, gets caught, and runs. Her grandmother arrives, slaps her across the face, and tells her she will never take her back again. Mimo replies that she never planned to go back anyway, then walks off, tears filling her eyes. She calls Yechun and asks if she can stay at her house for the night. Yechun lies. She says her father is drunk and shouting at everyone. So Mimo hangs up, understanding, and decides to sleep at school. The next morning, she overhears students talking again about her mother and realizes the truth. Yechun was the one who spread the news. Her grandmother arrives at the school to ask about Mimo, but Yechun says she doesn't know anything because Mimo isn't answering her messages. Later, Mimo finds Yechun's family and discovers their relationship is loving and peaceful, and that Yechun lied about everything. That night, Yechun finally meets Mimo. Mimo is shaking, broken, asking why she exposed her. Yechun pretends innocence. Mimo snaps and hits her, while from far away, Kim Ja watches, satisfied. The story jumps back as to 2012. Momi is transferred to prison. She gives her fingerprints, hands over her belongings, and enters her cell. Her cellmate asks about her plastic surgery. The next day, Momi explains everything about the procedure to the other women. Then, An appears, the woman known as the queen of the prison, powerful enough to even intimidate the warden. Momi learns An hired someone to attack her husband and his lover, which is why she is imprisoned. An calls Momi over, slaps her, and says she looks exactly like the woman her husband cheated with. She warns her never to show her face again. During lunch, Momi notices the cook refusing to serve a prisoner. Her cellmate explains the woman has been accused of adultery, and An ordered her to be denied food for 3 days. Momi shares her own meal with her, and An immediately decides to punish her. She orders the other prisoners to attack Yar, but Momi fights them all off one by one. Afterward, An tells her no one is allowed to defy her group, yet only Momi is punished. She is sent to solitary confinement. When she is released, her cellmate tells her to behave, stay quiet, and keep her head down if she ever wants to leave early. But Momi refuses. She attacks the same woman again and returns to solitary. When she comes back out, she fights again until finally An stops her, saying there is no reason to continue. Momi realizes something. She has won. Time passes. Years move forward until 2023. Momi is older now, changed by prison life. A new warden arrives, deeply religious, telling the prisoners that everyone is equal before God and that she doesn't judge their crimes. At first, the prisoners feel comfort, even hope, in her words. Then the warden calls Momi's name, and everything begins to shift once again. The warden holds Momi's hands and tells her she doesn't care what she did outside the prison, because in her eyes, everyone here is equal. Momi returns to her cell confused, carrying that strange sense of peace with her. Then something unexpected happens. For the first time since she was imprisoned, Momi receives a letter. She thinks it might be from a fan, but when she opens it, she finds an article. It describes her daughter and says she looks exactly like her. Inside the envelope is also a short message from Kim Ja. Now you will feel what it's like to watch your child fall apart. Momi freezes. She clutches the paper, whispering her daughter's name over and over. She tells her cellmate she must get out of prison, no matter what. She begins planning. In the sewing room, she secretly twists threads together, making a rope. She hides it inside her clothes and pretends she needs to go to the bathroom, slipping out and throwing the rope into the garden. Later, during planting duty, she pretends to help while secretly retrieving the rope. A bug bites her cellmate, part of their plan, so everyone rushes to help, and in the chaos, Momi hides the tools she will use and tells the guard the seedlings are finished. Then she slips away and tries to throw the rope over the wall. She fails. She tries again. The alarm sounds, but she keeps climbing. Suddenly, the rope snaps. She falls hard. When the warden learns what happened, she is furious and orders solitary confinement for over a month. It is illegal. The maximum allowed is only 2 weeks. Inside the dark cell, Momi receives something from the warden, a Bible. 30 days pass. When Momi finally comes out, the warden is surprised. Momi has been praying. She has changed, or seems to. Soon she begins preaching to the prisoners, saying God saved her and changed everything inside her the moment she chose faith. Even her cellmate hesitates, almost believing her. Then, Momi hears something that cuts deeper than anything before. Her daughter needs a kidney. Without thinking, she offers to donate. And when she learns they share the same blood type, she cries with relief. Later, she receives the results. She can donate. She collapses with gratitude. Volunteers visit the prison for rehabilitation sessions. Momi tells one woman that her whole life was built on lies, but now she has found peace through faith. After the session, the woman stops her, looks at her for a long moment, and says, "I am Onam's mother." We return to 2010. Kim Ja wakes underwater, trapped inside the sinking car. She fires the gun, shattering the glass, and swims out into the night. She believes God saved her, so she could punish Momi. She disappears, changes her face through plastic surgery, creates a new identity, moves to another place, and spends years searching. Then, in 2011, she sees Momi on the news, confessing everything. She goes to church and cries, convinced this is God's plan. She tries to forget, until she sees Mimo. From that moment, everything inside her turns dark again. We discover that Kim Ja is the woman who had been selling food outside Mimo's school all along. Staying close, pretending kindness, she decides to ruin Mimo's life. She spreads the truth among the parents, telling them everything about Momi. One day, Mimo goes to her in tears. Her friends won't talk to her. Everyone mocks her. Kim Ja hugs her gently and tells her something poisonous. Fight back. Don't ever let back. Don't ever anyone touch you. Hit them first. Mimo listens. She attacks her closest friend. After that, Kim Ja calls a journalist and tells him everything about Mimo's past. And the storm grows stronger, slowly pulling them all toward what will come next. Kim Ja asks the journalist to write an article questioning whether violence can be inherited. After that, Mimo learns she will be moving to a new place. Kim Ja reassures her, promising she will always visit, that she will never disappear, and she doesn't. She stays in touch with Mimo, all the way until 2023. At school, Yechen asks the bully if she knows who Mimo's father is. The girl refuses to answer and runs away. While from a distance, we see that Kim Ja had been the one feeding the bully information about the masked girl all along. Later, Kim Ja watches Mimo hit Yechen, and then watches Mimo come to her house in tears. Kim Ja hugs her and invites her inside. We return to the present. Kim Ja leans close to Momi's ear and whispers, "You must feel what I felt when I lost my son." Momi tries to stop her. Kim Ja suddenly pretends to fall, claiming Momi attacked her. The police restrain Momi while she screams, begging them to stop Kim Ja, saying she will kill her daughter. They don't believe her. They drag her to solitary. If you're still here, I truly appreciate you. Please don't forget to like the video and subscribe. These videos take a lot of time to create, and your support means everything. Now, let's get back to the main story. Momi pleads through the door, asking them to save Mimo. No one listens. Meanwhile, Kim Ja returns home with Mimo and feeds her, acting gentle like nothing is wrong. Later, inside the prison, Momi explains everything to An after coming out of solitary. An promises to help and begins searching for Kim Ja's identity. They find a photo of Onam and realize who his mother is, and also learn that he no longer lived with her. Momi's mother goes to the police station, desperate for news about her granddaughter, but there is nothing yet. The officer tells her to wait. An gives Momi her mother's phone number. Momi finally calls. Her daughter, won't answer. She learns Mimo left home and doesn't want to return, and begs her grandmother not to call the police. Then she hangs up. Momi calls again. This time her mother answers, shocked that it's really her daughter. She refuses to talk more and hangs up, overwhelmed. Momi tries again, but visiting time runs out. She refuses to leave the phone, begging. The guards try to remove her, but An intervenes and prevents them from sending her back to solitary. Momi asks An to help her speak to Mimo through the school. An agrees. Momi calls the school. No one answers. Seconds feel like hours. Finally, someone picks up just before the call ends. Momi thinks it's Mimo, but it isn't. It is someone else. We learn the truth. An's people hired someone to pretend because Momi asked to see her daughter. An pretends to be helping, but only until the transplant is finished. Meanwhile, Kim Ja buys everything she needs to kill Mimo. When she returns home, Mimo is gone, but then appears, celebrating Kim Ja's birthday. Mimo learned the date from the fake ID. Kim Ja cries, touched, then secretly goes to the underground shelter, preparing it like a trap. The next day, Momi says goodbye to her cellmates and leaves for surgery, secretly, illegally. Almost no one knows. At the same time, Kim Ja cooks breakfast and mixes drugs into the food. Mimo calls saying she wants to work and earn money to buy clothes for Kim Ja, maybe take her on a trip, to make her happy. Momi's mother calls the church, remembering she once saw Kim Ja there, and asks for her address under the excuse of sending a gift. She manages to get both the number and the address. At the hospital, Momi asks a guard for a Bible before surgery. The guard leaves to get it. Momi then asks the second guard to use the bathroom. The woman refuses, telling her to wait, but Momi insists. She complains about the handcuffs and the way they treat her like she isn't human. Nervous, the guard unlocks her. In that instant, Momi hits her, opens the window, and jumps. Even though it is dangerously high, a car slams into her. Everything goes black. Moments later, she wakes, dizzy, bleeding, and looks up. The car that hit her is stopped nearby. The door is open, so Momi slips out and runs. The guards panic the moment they realize she has escaped. Momi's mother goes to the address from the church and runs into Yechun. Yechun explains that Kim Ja is the one who exposed Mimo at school, and that she had followed her for a long time, becoming dangerously obsessed with her. Then Momi calls her mother. Her voice is trembling as she says that Onam's mother is planning to kill Mimo. Momi's mother is stunned, then whispers, "Mimo is with me right now. I know where she is." Fear rushes through Momi. She warns her mother that Kim Ja is dangerous and begs her to call the police first. She thanks her, then hangs up. Momi's mother leaves with Yechun, but Yechun insists on going as well. She takes another taxi and gives the driver the address. Meanwhile, Mimo wakes up tied to a chair. Kim Ja turns on the camera, planning to record her death and send the video to her mother. She tells Mimo that everything is her mother's fault, because her mother killed her son. On the road, the car Momi is in suddenly stops. Another woman offers her a ride, and Momi lies, saying her husband beat her and she's running away. The woman agrees to help, even though it's not her route. Mimo begs Kim Ja to remove the tape from her mouth, saying she's freezing. Kim Ja gives her her jacket, but tapes her mouth again. The woman driving keeps talking, but Momi is too tense to respond. Suddenly, they hear the news on the radio about her escape. When they describe her appearance, Momi quickly jumps out of the car and disappears into the forest. The woman calls the police. At Kim Ja's house, the doorbell rings. A police officer arrives, explaining there was a kidnapping report and he needs to search the house. She agrees. He finds nothing and leaves, just as Mimo manages to knock the chair over and rip the tape from her mouth. The assistant hears her. The officer turns back to search again, but receives news about Momi's location and drives away. Kim Ja returns to the basement and tells Mimo she's going to make her pay for what her mother did. At the same time, Momi sees the house on the hill. Momi's mother arrives and begs Kim Ja to let the girl go, saying she's only a child. Kim Ja breaks down, asking what her own son ever did wrong. Yechun arrives and rushes to the basement. Smoke fills the room. She puts out the fire, apologizes to Mimo for lying, and says she never told anyone her secret. Mimo nods and asks her to untie her. Upstairs, Kim Ja stabs Momi's mother. Momi arrives just in time and hits her. Her mother begs her to leave and save the child. Momi runs to the basement. Mimo looks at her in shock and asks who Yechun is, but there's no time. They untie Mimo and try to escape. When Kim Ja appears again with a knife, Momi grabs the gun from her hands and orders the girls to run. Mimo collapses when she sees her grandmother bleeding. The old woman apologizes, says she is sorry for everything, and dies. Mimo breaks down crying. Outside, the police arrive and order Momi to raise her hands. She does. Then Kim Ja walks out with a gun. The police shout at her to drop it, but she refuses. She points it at Mimo, saying she must feel the same pain she felt. Momi steps in front of her daughter and takes the bullet. The police shoot Kim Ja. Later, we see Mimo waiting for Yechun, who shows up with a new bicycle. We learn that Yechun's family adopts Mimo. Her life slowly changes. She returns to school, she stops hating everyone, and her mother no longer appears in her nightmares. Mimo goes back to grandmother's house, opens her mother's old box, and watches the video of her as a child. The one where she says her dream is for everyone to love her. She closes the video, quietly, finally, at peace. Sometimes stories like this remind us of something important. Stories like this show us how deeply a person can be wounded by the world until they stop recognizing themselves. Momi spent her life chasing approval, hiding behind masks, and trying to become someone others would finally accept. But in the end, her life was shattered. She lost everything, all the fighting, all the sacrifices, and still she walked through this world without ever receiving the love she was searching for. And that's the tragedy. When the world refuses to see your heart, even the strongest soul can break. So let this story remind us, treat people gently. If you can't give love, at least give respect, because sometimes kindness is the only thing that can save someone from falling apart. And with that, Season 1 of Mask Girl ends here. Season 2 hasn't been released yet. If you want me to recap it when it comes out, tell me in the comments. Also, let me know which character touched you the most in this story. If you enjoyed the video, please support it, but with a like, and don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you in the next story. Saranghae.